Welcome everybody to Frax Check, your weekly Frax vibe check. I am your host, Capital K, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, DeFi Dave, and our producer extraordinaire, Sam. We'll be going straight to the source of truth via checking the chain, but before we jump in, please smash that subscribe button and subscribe to our Flywheel Pod on YouTube. Follow us at Flywheelpod on Twitter and Telegram. Guys, this week, I call this week the Run It Back Turbo week. And you'll see what I mean.
We are so back. We're so fucking back.
Okay. Settle down, people. I got some new for the real ones out there today. Also, hope you guys enjoyed our Halloween special with Scoopy Trooples. If you haven't, please check that out. Sam will drop the link here and in the notes for you guys, so make sure you watch that pod. Now, let's get to our regular programming with the peg check. We saw it got as low as 0.99 this week and as high as $1. Peg check strong. We then took a look at the curve swap where I take $100 million of Frax, which I obviously have, and I go in there and swap it for USDC. And we got an exchange rate of 0.9992, which is a 2 bips change over last week. Curve swap, very strong. Now we move over to our collateralization percent. And this week I did something slightly different and I'll explain. This is the percent that conveys how much FrxETH or algorithmic is used as the collateral. So like I said, I did something different. Shout out to Seba here for putting together a dashboard that highlights the collateral ratio for the outstanding Frax, aka the non-Frax controlled Frax. So a reminder for all out there, Frax protocol owns a lot of its own Frax, meaning the stablecoin. And, theoretically, Frax won't ever redeem its own underlying collateral backing. So the only real collateral ratio that we should monitor is the outstanding Frax, which is currently at 90.9%. And just for all others viewing, I've included our previously used collateral ratio on the bottom, which is 93.25% of all Frax out there in existence. So moving forward, we're going to be switching to the collateral ratio of only the outstanding Frax because that's one we should be monitoring. Moving on, we have our decent percent, which is the decentralized percent, stands for how much of our collateral is decentralized. And here we have pretty much unchanged from last week at 14.5%. And it's still relatively close to, ATL, close to Atlanta, so probably in Georgia somewhere. But we definitely want to bring that up higher. We're looking at we want the collateral ratio to be at about 80%, and the decentralized percent to be around the 30s. So still pretty far on our path forward. But quick summary here on the health check. Peg check, very strong. Curve swap, good. Collat, new improvement, could be better. A decent percent, low. Now, here's the surprise that I have in store for you guys. This is a new segment that I'll be adding going forward in all Frax checks, okay? And remember, today's theme was Run It Back Turbo. So I got to share with you guys how Frax is going to be running it back turbo with a new stablecoin, FrxETH. Okay, and why is FrxETH a stablecoin? Well, a stablecoin is simply a coin that is pegged to a price or an asset. And in this case, it's pegged towards ETH. So FrxETH is inherently a stablecoin. And Frax, unlike any other stablecoin project out there, does it frankly the best, in my opinion. So just like our Frax peg check, I'm going to do a FrxETH peg check here. And quick shout out to our boy Structure for putting this dashboard together on Dude Analytics. The Frax community is the freaking coolest. So join us in our Telegram at Flywheelpod on Telegram. But let's dive in here. The peg check is quite strong. You see there's only a 6 bips price difference between FrxETH and ETH right here. But that is just a snapshot of the price. Let me go into the curve swap in the market and execute like I always do. So in this curve pool, there's only about 800 ETH in here. And I essentially took, what if I just took the whole pool and I had 400 FrxETH and I want to swap it back to ETH. there is an exchange rate of 0.9661 ETH for draining a whole pool, which is pretty damn good in my opinion. You know, it showed like this could be like a bad week for Steph a couple of times ago. But seeing here that you could drain the whole pool and still pull out 0.966 of your ETH is quite, laudable. And quick note here, there's about 12.5% of the FrxETH supply staked in the curve pool. But let's look at what the total count looks like. And I know the chart is hard to see, but that's not the point. I just wanted you to get the vibe that this is an up-only chart, and we're at 3,355 FrxETH right now. Okay, hot, right? Just appreciate the verticalness of this graph for a second. Now, on the right. On the staked side, we see that 84% of all FrxETH is being staked to earn the ETH native staking rewards, which Frax shows at about 5 to 7%. But because only 84% is staked, the yield is a little higher for those that are staked. Now, this begs the question, or at least it kind of intrigued me when I was looking into it, is why is 12.5% of the FrxETH folks in the curve pool earning basically 0.3% APR when they could be earning 5 to 7 here? Now, I think, yeah, Sam knows. It's coming. I think it's because, they are preparing themselves for when the flywheel is turned on. See, the FrxETH gauge just got approved recently. And I think we're going to see the party starting real soon. And these are like the early birds that come early to get the good seats and, to get the drinks and to get all the concession snacks ready and just kind of be in position. I think that's why they're in here before the imbalance between the FrxETH and ETH pool gets, way too, imbalanced and the slippage becomes too hard to bear. So that's why I think these guys are, positioning early here. Any comments from the boys?
Do you have that Sam? Do you have that Sam screenshot that he posted?
I don't. Maybe we'll throw it up here somewhere on the screen for folks to read for a sec.
Okay. Yeah. It's it looks right. Good, but the initial, it hasn't started yet. But based on the initial voting, I think it's going to be somewhere over 3 digits right at the beginning. We're probably like 3 or 4 digits. There you go. Okay, I was trying to be nice about it, but it looked okay. Okay, so 3 to 4 digits worth of yield.
3 to 4 digits, everybody. For ETH, everybody. Yeah, ETH, everybody. Yep. This is for ETH. No, I agree, and that's why I want to have a quick summary to catch everybody up in case they just tuned in at this part. We have a peg that is holding really strong at only -6 bips between FrxETH and ETH price. We have a curve swap ratio of 0.9559. This is assuming if I come in and just whack the whole pool. So keep that in mind. If all shit breaks loose, you can still get out at 0.955. Now, the count of the ETH is at 3,300. FrxETH is at 3,355, and 84% of it is staked, and 12.5% of it is in the curve pool. Wink, wink. All right. Now, let's jump into...
Is there any lockup? Hold on a second. Before we head on, is there any lockup or is there any cooldown on withdrawing from the stake FrxETH pool?
With pool. Oh, the stake Frax is that's a good question. I actually don't know. That's probably a good question to ask the homie Jack.
Shit.
Right. That was only the CRV rewards, right? So now this is going to be the CVX, CRV, and FXS. Ooh, the party's about to start. Okay, guys, back to regular boring business now. We talk about the AMO holdings, right? Let's jump there. So we have a grand total of $611 million across all of the AMOs, the 4 of them. And this was an increase of about 20 bips, so largely unchanged across the board from the Curve, liquidity, lending, and investor AMOs. And after that, let's take a quick look at the profitability. Now, this part, I wish it was better. But I'm going to tell you the real because I'm a real one. And here it is. We broke even for the month of October. We literally came in just like a smidget over 20K for the good folks at the team, for the community. We're up. Yeah, we're up. Granted, I did do some accounting voodoo here, and because the Vodium bribe was paid, at on October 31st, right? Which is obviously within the month of October. However, if you look at UTC time zone, that is technically on November 1st. Therefore, I shifted the Vodium payment from that was on October 31st into November 1st, really based on what time zone you look at. So to keep the numbers clear, I took only the Vodium bribes that were paid during the month of October for the rewards in the month of October, and moving the just paid bribe on Monday onto November's financials. Being very transparent here. This is what we called disclosure.
Profit is profit.
Profit is profit. Profit is profit. Okay, guys. Yeah. Now, let's do a quick summary of our money check. We have the AMO holdings at $611 million, frankly unchanged over the last week. Profitability, we broke even for the month of October, so things are happy and trucking along. Can't wait for FrxETH to crank up and really get after it. I think we might be in the negative moving forward, because now we're in the growth stage with both FrxETH and all the base pool and the meta pools and all of the incentivization that's going to be needed with all the future partnership, like possibly the one with Alchemix, which everybody should watch. So please go to that link. Like, I think we're going to be in the loss, but we're hitting that growth stage and we're planning for it. Okay, we're planning for it, so it's definitely in the books. But as always, here's my favorite section of the Frax check, the liquidity check. But did I mention that we're in the run it back turbo mode for the liquidity check? We are at 95%.
We're so back. We're so back.
Baby. Run it back turbo.
We're so back.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, it had me a little bit there. When we dropped down to 87, I was like, oh, are we going to see a 7 number in the front next week? I was a little sweating, I'm not going to lie, but coming back, we're real
so
strong.
Back.
Coming back real strong at 95% of the 3 pool, the arch nemesis. And I'm very, very excited to share that we had a 8% growth over the last week. Our TVL now is back above 735 versus the 3 pool 774. So closing in on the 3 pool, we're back at it, baby, neck to neck. And this is just hotness. And you know what, guys? I'm not going to stop there. I'm not going to stop there because, there's nothing like a Frax party, because a Frax party don't stop. And let's check the meta pools, baby. We hit 9
24%.
We hit 99 figures. We have $100 million of liquidity being paired against the Frax base pool. Stable asset.
24%.
Yeah, we went boom, real fast for the week.
We went turbo mode.
Yeah, it was hot this week. And remember, these are meta pools that are paired against the base pool. So think of your LUSD, your BUSD, and things of that nature being paired against the Frax base pool. And we just straight up blew past 90 million and broke into the 9-figure range and just casual. See you at the country club, casual. But let's see if we can keep this going. Any project out there that's looking to work with the meta pool, please join the Flywheel pod and, talk to us, DM us, and we'll try to get something going, because we definitely need to, there's still a remaining 700 and something million in the base pool to be shared. Now, also a quick note, the base pool is also able to be paired against non-stable assets. Okay, so we saw an increase of about $2 million in non-stable assets from like 9.5 million to 11.6 million this week. And these are pairs like CVX, FXS, again, Frax BP, CVX CRV, Frax BP. We also had Badger and Frax BP up there as well. And kind of like adding all of these base pool, meta pools together, stables and non-stables, we have a TVL of $111.6 million, which is up 23% for the week. Thank you very much. Clap, y'all. Clap, y'all. Good freaking week. Okay. Granted, Frax price also kind of rallied really hard, so maybe that's why the yield is looking really good and people are aping in. But let's celebrate the wins when we have them, because a couple weeks ago the vibes was real bad. So moving forward, we have a little summary chart for everybody here, a summary table. The Frax BP TVL is 735 million, which is 95% of the 3 pool. And our meta pools broke the 100 million mark on the stables pair. And for all pairs, including stables and non-stables, we are at 111.6 million. Woo! Hotness.
Amazing.
Hotness.
It's great.
But guys, we do this for one reason and one reason only, so that we can see the Frax supply grow as big as possible. And frankly, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. We are at a 1.217 billion, which was the same amount as last week. And I'm sorry to climax at such a meh point, but this is important for us to highlight, right? We really still need to drive this number up. We really need to make sure the Frax supply proliferates, and we're doing that through the base pool and things, but this is the number that we really need to crank it up. So let's keep our eyes on the prize and grow this number. And now I'm going to hand it over to DeFi Dave to do the governance roundup.
Thank you for that report of mostly good news, mostly exciting news. I may have just been very explicit with Alpha, but I'm just too excited about it not to be. I literally jumped out of my seat this morning when I saw that screenshot. I'm like, oh my, wait, what? I need to get as much ETH as humanly possible right now. Not financial advice. But, gotta get up those numbers, the circulating supply and other ones. But it's really inspiring seeing the meta pool, because that's something I said last week was when are we going to see more adoption? And clearly my prayers have been answered. So that's awesome to see. And the governance forum on our governance roundup has been quite active both on Frax governance and in other communities. For those who have been following the pod, we had Scoopy Trooples on for our Halloween special, where we went over his request for comment to add Frax BP AMO to ALUSD, as well as add Frax as collateral to ALUSD. And this was really a diplomatic conversation to inform both the AlchemX community about Frax and how we'll benefit them, address any of their safety concerns, as well as educate, the Frax community about AlchemX and how this deeper collaboration can lead to, future partnerships and future actions. Include, what was one thing you said that they could do in the future? Have another AMO where it's like a Frax AMO for AlchemX, right?
Yeah. So like a single-sided Frax deposit for AlchemX.
Yes. Yeah. So this is just, the definition of mutually beneficial and positive sum. And, I'm excited to see the conversation going, and, we'll be covering it here on Flywheel Pod. Now to the proposals. We have FIP 120 to deploy the state CVX FrxETH gauge. The author was Sam Kazemian himself. This went to Snapshot. It had 37 million votes for yes and 727 votes for no. So that passed with flying colors. And yeah, I expect to see that on top of the yields from CRV and CVX for that FrxETH gauge, which I'm sure will be the talk of CT and the talk of the town in very short order. Next up, we have FIP 121 to create a Fraxland AMO for FPI. The author was the Frax core team, and it's authorized up to 5 million Frax for the FPI pair in Fraxland. This went to Snapshot and passed unanimously with 36 million votes. No surprise there. Next up, we have FIP 122, a FrxETH protocol fee structure, which was authored by the Frax core developers. This basically breaks down where the revenue from FrxETH will be going in the FrxETH structure. So in the proposal, it has 90% of ETH earned goes to FrxETH stakers in the form of FrxETH. 8% of earned ETH from the will go to the Frax protocol treasury in the form of FrxETH. This will ultimately be distributed back to FrxETH holders. And then there'll be 2% to a slashing insurance fund for any unforeseen circumstances and penalties to cover deposits. This will effectively keep FrxETH over-collateralized at over 100% CR to cover any potential issues or losses. There is a note that this is only for V1, and the structure will have to be modified when V2 of FrxETH comes out, when validators can independently run. But for now, this is the structure for V1. So it's up for vote right now in Snapshot. There's 359,000 votes for it. Voting ends November 5th. I encourage everyone to participate. And here we go for the next one.
But
next
one
I find really
this one also allows us to do some like basic math on how much FXOS holders are going to get, right? So assuming like 100,000 ETH into the FrxETH, right? Let's say we get 6% a year. That's like 6,000 ETH, and then 10% of that, so 600 ETH back to Fractures holders. Or sorry, a little bit less. So like 550 ETH back to Fractures holder, which is going to
all around.
Yeah, so it's really going to be great because it'll take the amount of earnings that are sent back to Fractures holders, and it's going to triple it. So right now it's about $50,000 a week. This proposal, if we can get to like I think it's 1 million, if we can get 1 million like FrxETH, like the fees just go insane, right? And then we also have Flywheel as well too on Curve. So really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's all coming together, which is really exciting. Next up, we have FIP 123. This is a continuation, honestly, of the Temple LP Frax Gauge discussion. But this is specifically to introduce a 20% rage quit to specifically the Temple Frax Gauge. The author was Crypto Grills. This is the culmination of trying to unlock and then migrate the Temple Frax Gauge. There's been a lot of stuff happening in the Temple community. You can see our past episodes if you want to catch yourselves about that. But the TLDR is to basically have a 15-20% slash accused to the Frax Treasury for people who decide to end their locks early. The most important part of this conversation you need to know is Dennis responded, who has been the most critical about any type of migration or rage quit like this. But he said he would consider this rage quit function for the Temple LP Gauge because it won't affect the Frax peg, and it would actually be good for the Frax Treasury. And there's also enough liquidity to absorb any sell pressure for the assets. He wouldn't consider it for any other gauge because all the other gauges serve an important function for keeping Frax liquidity. But he would consider it for only the Temple Frax Gauge. So I think there'll finally be a solution to everyone in the Temple Frax pool. Now there's just discussion going on in the forum about details and this and that. Sam, I see you're in there. You're trying to bump that up to 30%.
I think it should be as high as possible, right? Like if people want to get out, like Like there has to be a minimum. They're saying it's 20%. I think it should probably be higher. You know, like these gauges are something that people wanted to be in for a long time, and we need to. I would think about it in the way where sure it prevents a bank run, but if you have that minimum amount high enough, it'll cover whatever the collateralization ratio is if there's any sort of gap or anything. So if you set that thing to like 25, 30%, even 40%, now people getting out are really going to have to really want to get out, right? It's going to have like. It should be like the last option. It shouldn't be like an easy option to take the rage quit, right? And 20% seems just that it's not enough. It should be like the rage quit should be the ultimate last, like, I have to do this no matter what. Like, but it's going to hurt. That's going to hurt really bad, sort of option.
Yeah. It's a rage quit for a reason.
Yeah.
This leads to the kind of like a fun next proposal that really wasn't a proposal, more of a suggestion to deprecate the gelato pool. Dennis just said no, just straight up. So only the Temple Frax gauge is being considered for this. And so it'll be really cool to see like this come to a compromise where like, both, the old Temple Frax lockers who want to exit are happy, and also like the Frax protocol feels like it's ultimately safe. So we'll see what happens there. Next up, we have FIP 124, which was authored by Mark 11 to authorize a Fraxlend AMO for a new pair for Geom. Mark said this proposal can be activated once the oracle is finalized for Geom, and he wants to authorize up to 5 million Frax for the Geom Fraxlend pair. So we will keep an eye on this as it develops further. I think it's a no-brainer to have AMO and a pair for Geom. The Omis have been great partners with Frax and huge holders of Frax. It just makes sense to like keep that collaboration going. And next up, we have Sam. We have your proposal, which is an update. FIP 119 to create the Gearbox AMO. Can you go over the changes you made and updates you made to this proposal?
Sorry.
Bless you.
Yeah. Hey, so I spoke with the team, spoke with Ivan and the rest of the Gearbox team, and really kind of fleshed this out a bunch more. We added a bunch more information about Gearbox itself, what they're trying to do with their V2 and their Leverage Ninja stuff, and also more about security risks and some other potential considerations for the future. So it looks like the actual vote really hasn't changed that much. It's going to be authorized up to 10 million Frax, it should authorize up to 10 million in treasury assets for the Gearbox AMO. And then additionally, once they have a separate deposit for Frax, then we'll be able to deposit Frax as well too. So I think there's another 3 or 4 days before this thing gets live. So we'll talk about it next week and hopefully it's passed. But I think it'll pass. I mean, it looks like there's already $100 million worth of TVL in Gearbox. The yields seem pretty good.
It meets the criteria for something like this passing for a Frax partnership.
Yeah. And plus, like, I think they want to build into us as well, too, and like leverage the Fraxlend and other things that we're building inside of the Frax protocol to build into Gearbox as well, too, which would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more. So excited to see the developments on this, and cool to see the updates coming, and cool. It'll be. I expect this to pass as well. Especially with the suggested changes and all. Next up, we have FIP 125, which was just posted less than an hour ago. This is to explore a partnership to. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Explore a partnership.
It's going around.
To pursue a PropFi AMO. So this is a real world this PropFi, then the real world asset category, and this is to explore a partnership to allocate stable liquidity for an initial property pool of a high yielding single family real estate asset. So this is interesting. I'm not sure, I've seen real world asset proposals in the past, like TrueFi and Goldfinch, and like even though they passed, I know it's like very hard to figure out how to do this in a safe manner, just because the protocol can't take recourse off chain. So unless there's a way that recourse can be taken on chain, even if this passes, like, will this actually go through? I mean, will this actually happen? We'll see what advancements and developments in on-chain enforcement happens.
I mean, I think with this one, it's the same with all the other RWA proposals, where like I think it's fine if PropFi created a pool where you could deposit Frax, and then individual Frax holders could add the Frax to that and earn yield. But when it comes to like an AMO where you have unbacked Frax being put into the pool without some sort of like collateral backing it, or at least like off-chain collateral, right? Like that, I think that's where the hang up is. Because like how does Frax as a protocol, like who do they sue when there's a default, right? And they have to get that money back.
It's not like they can go to the court. They have to do it all on chain.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's like there's a gauge. Maybe we can add a gauge for their thing, and
that would make the most sense.
And a deposit.
Probably not an AMO.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, we'll see how this develops. Like, it would be cool if there is a gauge and there's more real world asset gauges. Last, this isn't a proposal, but this is a feature request for future Fraxlin pairs. Nader opened a discussion. He would like to see a projected interest rate on Fraxlin pairs so that users have more information about future rates. I saw you had a little comment on that as well. But yeah, just seems like just straightforward, useful information.
Well, I mean, it's variable, right? I mean, I guess the only thing that you would need to know is like if it's going up or down, right? Because there is a lag time on the rate change, and it doesn't change immediately. Like in other pools, right? So it like steps up over like every hour or something like that. We should ask Drake about this to give a bit more detail. But
we'll hit up Drake. Yeah. I'm still waiting for those custom term sheets.
Yeah, I think it'll come soon. It'll be nice to have like, because I was mentioning in chat that we should have like you should be able to deposit ETH and then borrow FrxETH as collateral, and then also the other way around. You should be able to deposit FrxETH and then borrow ETH as well too. And
then like put the that ETH into FrxETH and just keep looping.
Yeah, if you want to do it, if you want to do that. But I like for tax purposes, if you're sitting on a huge thing of ETH and you want to swap into FrxETH without taking a capital gains hit, it's like you want a lending pool where you can deposit ETH and borrow FrxETH and then go take it to Curve and then farm with. Yeah,
it's true. That'd be nice. Anyways, that's it for the governance roundup, and that's it for this week's Frax Check, your weekly Frax 5 check. Thank you for all who have watched this episodes and past episodes. Please, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, hit that bell button. We want to hear you. We want to hear what you think. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Flywheelpod. Join us on Telegram at Flywheelpod. You can follow me on Twitter at DeFi Dave 22.
And I'm at traders_insight.
And well, I don't know where Kiet went, but you can follow him.
He had to drop off. You can find OX capital K, yeah. _
OX. You can find Kiet at OX capital K. We can't forget Kiet. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you guys. Peace.
Peace.